understand what is Gond art, we have to understand who are the Gonds, right? So in India, there are more than 700 tribes. Now, each of the tribe have their unique characteristics and features and traditions and culture, right? So Gond was one of the most famous tribes. The Gond were prominent in the Indian culture in the 13th and 14th century. Okay, so if you know about the Mughal invasions that happened in the Indian subcontinent, it was before that invasions, that the Gond were a prominent area. Okay, so they occupied a particular area in central India or central Indian subcontinent. Can you see the screen over here where the brown color is highlighted?
Yes.
So that area is where the Gonds resided at that point of time in the 14th century. Now, if you actually look at this, it's a very, very large area, right? It's not just covering the entire Madhya Pradesh state, but it's also going into a little bit of Maharashtra, Telangana, a major part of Chhattisgarh, and a little bit of Orissa. So they were actually residing or inhabiting in a very, very huge plot of like land in India. So they were very prominent. And till date, they are the largest tribe in central India. Now, where does the word Gond come from? The word comes from Kond in the Dravidian expression, meaning green mountain. So green mountain reference is made to the Vindhya and the Satpura region in India. Where is the Vindhya and the Satpura region? And the Vindhya and the Satpura region are parallel, like the mountain ranges are parallel that run across this area. Okay, so that's where they derive the word Kond and thus Gond. Now, one more important thing that we have to understand here is, why do they decorate their houses and their floors and the walls? Because in their culture or in their traditions, they believe that, give me 1 second, yeah, in their culture and traditions, they believe that viewing, beautiful paintings and beautiful um, architectures, or the walls and the floral printing, that brings good luck to the people in the house or the family members. That's an important thing to understand, because viewing that means good luck, which implies that they would keep their houses very clean and very neat, etc. Right. So Gonds also developed their own social, religious, and cultural base during their ruling. They are known to be experts in floral and wall paintings, and the beautiful geometric patterns and stylistic features of plants and animals on the walls of their houses. The geometric and symbolic designs are actually inspired or broadened from the Indus Valley civilization. So, does any of you know about the Indus Valley civilization?
Yes.
Right. So it is the civilization which is almost like 4,500 or 5,000 years old, right? And right. So the influence that we can see in Gond painting, I'll try and illustrate a little bit to you. If you've seen in these pottery and the artifacts that have been excavated from the Indus Valley civilization, you see these forms of art, you will see that if you observe Gond art as well, it's relatively similar in terms of, the lines, or, the dots, or the waves and curves, and the sun sort of a feature here, and those sort of things. So we can actually say that it has had some influence from the Indus Valley civilization. Now, again, nowadays, because of the urban influence, these features are very rare to observe. Some of the features of Gond art will be, they are deeply linked to the everyday life. So if you actually observe the Gond paintings, it's related to the everyday lives and the practices of the people. So if you can see the picture over here, it's mostly about a tree, you know, animals moving around, birds flying, the lady doing something with the rounded structure. There's another lady who's picking up the things. So it's very casual in the sense of the theme of the painting. So if you actually look at it, it's more like, oh, this seems like we've extracted something from a part of their everyday life, right? At the same time, we also have to understand that as artists or as people who are doing Gond art, we have to place ourselves um, as Gonds, not as people who are living in metropolitan cities, you know, doing all sorts of things with their computers and stuff like that. So when we are doing Gond art, we need to take ourselves back to this region and try and put ourselves in that place, and then draw the themes of what we want to draw. Yeah, the theme of the paintings are mostly around folk tales and Gone mythology as well. So in a lot of paintings, you'll see interesting kind of creatures and designs, etc. Horses, elephants, tigers, birds, gods, men, and objects of everyday life are painted in bright and multicolored hues. So if you see, most of the Gond art is really multicolored, okay? It'll be really contrasting with each other. Even in this painting, the blue, the light blue and the dark blue with the details inside it is very intricate, and it really catches your eye. So we have to understand that even in Gond art, we have to make sure that the paintings are bright, and and the paints we choose need to be contrasting in order to make it bright. One important aspect before we jump into the other parts is the mythology of the Gone painting. So, in a lot of Gone paintings, we will see a tree which is huge, and there'll be like other creatures, other animals, birds, people around it. But most of the space of the painting is taken by the tree. It's important for us to know what tree is it. It is the mahua tree found in that region. Okay, maybe let me show you a picture of that. So if you see, this is the mahua tree. So if you actually look at this tree, it's actually very huge, right? And it sort of looks like the paintings that we've seen previously. Now, the most important thing is we have to look at the leaves of the tree. So if you see, the leaves are not one by one by one. They are bunched together, and then there'll be another cluster and another cluster and another cluster. So how can I go back? Painting. Can you see the painting?
Yes.
Okay. So in this painting also, you will see that the leaves are clustered together, right? And in the previous painting also, you'll see they are not clustered together, but they are in a roundish shape. From this, we can also derive that maybe instead of one leaf, the roundish shape of the leaf basically indicates a cluster of leaves. Right. Yeah, and one important philosophy that I wanted to talk about is, according to the Gonds, the lives of the human beings and the trees are intertwined and cannot be separated. Now, how do we draw an inference from that? So, say for example, okay, let me explain it with the example of a human being, a successful human being. So, a successful human being needs not only to be grounded with where they come from and their culture. It could be their culture, or it could be their traditions, or maybe their land, or whatever, but they have to be grounded to something. They cannot be in their heads all the time, right? Similarly, we can draw the analogy to the roots of the tree. The roots of the tree are also grounded. You cannot take out the roots of the tree and still the tree survives. That's not possible. And similarly, the human aspirations grows in multiple ways and multiple branches, and it could have many different aspirations, dreams, desires, etc. Similarly, we can see the tree also branches out into different branches and leaves, etc., etc., and tries and goes higher and higher in life. So that's the analogy that we can draw from the trees and the human beings from the Gond art. So the motifs that we can see, the dots, the lines, and the dashes, are called Gond Pradhan motifs. Pradhan means prime. So these are the prime motifs in Gond painting, in Gond art.